Life can trap you in a loop without you even noticing. For me, it wasn't a dramatic event, just a slow slide into exhaustion and apathy. Every day blurred into the next. Wake up late, rush to work, come home, zone out, repeat. I was tired, physically and mentally. And my mornings were the worst part. The alarm would blare and I'd hit snooze over and over, bargaining for a few more minutes of restless sleep. When I finally got up, it was a frantic scramble out the door, already feeling behind. The guilt and stress of oversleeping set a negative tone for the whole day. I wasn't aiming to become a productivity guru or run marathons before breakfast. I just wanted to stop feeling like I was failing before the day even started. My days felt out of my control, like I was a passenger in my own life. Changing everything at once felt impossible, so I decided to focus on one thing: my mornings. If I could fix the start of my day, maybe the rest would follow. I didn't expect miracles, just a small improvement. The goal was simple: make my mornings suck a little less. That felt achievable. It was time to try. I set myself a 21-day challenge: wake up early, not 4:30 a.m. like the internet says, just 6:30, an hour and 15 minutes earlier than usual. No complicated routines, no cold showers, no journaling. The only rule: get out of bed at 6:30 and don't grab my phone. What I did with the extra time was up to me. Read, sip tea, or just stare out the window. I wanted to see if changing this one thing could shift the tone of my day. The goal wasn't to join the early risers club, but to create a buffer between sleep and the chaos. No rigid schedules, just space to breathe. I believed my frantic mornings were poisoning the rest of my day. If I could start calm, maybe I'd feel more in control. I wasn't expecting a miracle or a productivity boost. I just wanted to feel less chaotic. This was a personal experiment to reclaim my mornings. One small change, nothing more. That was the plan. Time to see what would happen. Day 1 was rough. My body begged for the snooze button, but I forced myself up. I stumbled to the kitchen, groggy and doubting this whole idea. The first few days were a struggle. Tired, unfocused, tempted to quit. On day 3, I slipped and hit snooze, but the guilt reminded me why I started. I kept telling myself, just get through the first week. But even in the fog, I noticed something. My mornings were calmer. No more frantic searches for keys or shirts. I had time to make coffee and actually enjoy it. The house was quiet, the world still waking up. That peace, even half asleep, felt like a win. By day 5, I was still tired, but mentally, I felt more prepared. The feeling of being behind was gone, replaced by a small sense of accomplishment. It wasn't life-changing yet, but it was enough to keep going. The grind was real, but so was the glimmer of something better. Each morning, I felt a little more in control. The experiment was working, slowly but surely. I wanted to see what the next day would bring. Hope was starting to shine through. By week 2, waking up early was less of a battle. My body started to adjust, and the grogginess faded faster. Mornings became peaceful instead of panicked. I'd sit with my tea, just enjoying the quiet. No racing thoughts, no checklist. The silence became a sanctuary, a buffer before the day's noise. I noticed I was less irritable, more patient. Small annoyances didn't bother me as much. I wasn't suddenly more productive, but I felt more stable. Some mornings I read, others I just listened to music or watered my plants. It wasn't about optimizing my life, just reclaiming a sense of peace. The biggest change was internal. I felt proactive, not reactive. I was no longer a victim of my schedule. I was starting to design my day. By the final week, 6:30 a.m. felt normal. The alarm was just a signal, not an enemy. I was going to bed earlier, and the snooze button debate was gone. My mornings belonged to me. The biggest shift was my relationship with my phone. I stopped reaching for it first thing. No more starting the day with emails or social media. Instead, I set gentle intentions for the day over tea. I'd pick 3 priorities which helped me focus and feel less overwhelmed. I wasn't forcing productivity, I just had the mental space to think. My baseline anxiety dropped. I felt calmer, more prepared, and more resilient. Stressful days still happened, but I handled them better. The foundation of my day was now solid. That mindset shift was the real win. As the 21 days ended, I realized waking up early isn't a miracle fix. It didn't solve all my problems or make me perfect. Some days I slipped, like scrolling my phone for an hour on day 18. But this wasn't about perfection. It was about consistency. One bad morning didn't erase my progress. Life is messy and routines aren't always flawless. The real benefit was the cumulative effect of starting most days with calm. Like eating healthy, it's the pattern that matters, not one slip. Letting go of perfection made it easier to keep going. The value wasn't in the extra time, but in what it represented: self-respect and a deliberate choice to prioritize my well-being. That hour became a non-negotiable meeting with myself. It reframed my relationship with my own time and energy. The change was slow and subtle, but powerful. The biggest shift was internal, from chaos to intention. The calm start was the real prize. The main lesson? You don't need a grand plan to change your life. Sometimes one small consistent change is enough. For me, that was waking up an hour earlier. Not for productivity, but for peace. That small shift had a ripple effect I never expected. We think we need massive changes to get unstuck, but that's overwhelming. My experiment taught me the power of starting small, of fixing just one thing. That small win built momentum and confidence. If you feel stuck, look at your mornings. You don't have to wake up at dawn or start a complex routine. Just make the first hour a little better. Maybe wake up 15 minutes earlier or skip your phone. The goal is to create an anchor of calm. Your morning sets the tone for everything that follows. Motivation comes after you start, not before. Try it for a week or 21 days. Fix your morning, and you might just fix a lot more than that.